Hey everybody, welcome to Music Detectives. We've already talked about Sun and Mercury. Now we're going to talk about Venus.
Not Venus.
Huh?
Not Venus.
Oh, MGM Records. I mean, they're all going to be under Universal anyway. So you can't blame a guy for thinking about space, man. Come on. We're at MGM Records, and the year is 1958. Now, when we first put this show together, we were expecting to put an album in each show. But we're not quite there because Conway's not quite there yet. He's just about to release his first single, and we're going to look at it and tell you all about it and how normally when an artist releases his first single, he has a period of growing. Well, Conway's not going to be climbing that mountain. He's actually going to start at the top of that mountain.
I'm the king of the world.
And MGM's going to struggle to try and keep up with it. Because Conway was just about ready to put down the guitar and pick up a wrench when he was like, oh, I'm famous. And now I have to hurry up and get back in the biz, back in the studio. And MGM's struggling to press records. And it's going to be this whole fiasco that we're going to be talking about here on today's show. Let's do a label lowdown. Founded in 1946 by the MGM Film Studio, initially for releasing soundtracks for their movies. MGM Records, the star-powered label, was considered one of the major recording companies just for its manufacturing abilities alone during the 1950s. MGM's first president, Frank Walker, was responsible for discovering and later signing Hank Williams. Conway Twitty would later be included in the country western genre at MGM. During the 1950s, if you look at the label, it stated that MGM was a division of Lowe's Incorporated. From about 1960 onward, the label would state MGM Records, a division of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Incorporated. The reason for this happening goes back to the late 40s to a federal antitrust ruling that major film studios could no longer own movie theater chains. Thus, the divorce of Lowe's from MGM in 1959. There's also a lion's tale to tell you about, but we'll cover that in our next episode. In 1972, MGM was sold to Polygram. Polygram would secure a deal to use the MGM name for a period of 10 years. MGM Records' catalog is now split. Pop music, musical theater, and country music are all under the Universal Music Group. MGM soundtracks are managed by Warner Brothers Entertainment. Some notable artists at MGM were Joni James, Hank Williams and his son Hank Jr., Sammy Davis Jr., Mel Tillis, Wayne Newton, Roy Orbison after leaving Sun, the Osmonds, that's Donnie Marie and Little Jimmy, the Times, and Marvin Rainwater.
And now, a music detective song story.
It's Only Make Believe was written in under 10 minutes by Conway Twitty and Jack Nance. Reviews first came in mid-July of 1958. MGM would release the song on both 45 and 78 in the United States. Billboard rated I'll Try with a 75 worth spins, and It's Only Make Believe with a 73, calling it a rock ballad on July 14th. Cashbox would give It's Only Make Believe a B+, and I'll Try a C+, just 5 days later. Nate Brooke would report to Cashbox It's Only Make Believe is at number 3 at KRKO in Everett, Washington State on August 9th. Cashbox would also report the song has broken out in Florida at the end of August. It's Only Make Believe would enter Cashbox's top 100 at number 79 on September 13th. September 15th would add the song to its Hot 100 at number 65. Monday, September 29th, Conway Twitty would appear on Dick Clark's television program American Bandstand to sing It's Only Make Believe. At this time, the song is at Cashbox number 49 and Billboard number 33. The song would continue to climb both pop charts through the weeks in October and also reach number 10 on Cashbox's R&B chart at the beginning of November. As the song climbed both pop charts, Twitty fever started to spread across the nation among America's youth and tweens. Conway Twitty was quickly becoming a teen idol. Then, on November 10th, Billboard would crown It's Only Make Believe the #1 song after being stuck at number 2 for the previous 2 weeks on the chart. It would return to number 2 the following week, but then reclaim the #1 position for the week of November 24th. Meanwhile, on the Cashbox charts, It's Only Make Believe would find its way to number 1 on November 15th. MGM would release the Stereo 45 at the end of November. December 8th, Billboard would report that It's Only Make Believe had topped the British charts. The song would keep the top position throughout December in Great Britain. Conway Twitty would go on to win Most Promising Male Vocalist in December of 1958. With no full album yet to sell, MGM would release It's Only Make Believe on EP in mid-December. Billboard would give it 4 stars. With Conway's help, MGM would report selling over 100,000 records for 4 straight days.
Now it's time for a Music Detective's detailed inspection.
Before we start, I'd like to thank Billy, Conway's drummer, when they were known as the Rockhausers, for letting me know that Conway's picture is still up on the wall at Sun's studio, with less photos on the wall though, and they play a portion of Crazy Dreams during the tour. That was one of the songs Conway recorded while he was at Sun. You can see a picture of Billy right here, along with Bill Harris, Conway, and Jimmy Paulman. So thanks again, Mr. Weir. 78s were still around at this point, mainly because the international markets needed time to catch up with the popularity of the 45. It's Only Make Believe was released on both 45 and 78 in the United States, though the 78 is a lot more scarce. The 78 was made of MGM's exclusive Metrolite. You can see once again the Metrolite advertising, and non-breakable under normal use, of course. The Canadian version and other international releases don't have the Metrolite branding on the label, but the Canadian sleeve here does mention it. It's clearly marked Made in Canada and was made by Quality Records Limited. Also note the catalog number is just 12677. There's no letter. Letter K would be used for the MGM 45. Because other manufacturers outside the US made 78s, it was probably best for them to hold off on the Metrolite standard, or the trademark wasn't something MGM bothered with. Now on to the record that most people will see and probably have or had. K12677, the MGM 45 of It's Only Make Believe. Original first pressing containing a yellow background with black letters, and of course the lion. You can see here in the dead wax we have P58XY514. On this side it's 0. There's a 58XY515. Originally, the I'll Try side was to be the hit, and the song was mentioned by several Cashbox DJ reports as making their own regional top 10s, but it was It's Only Make Believe that stole the show and made history. So what do DJs need? Well, a special disc jockey record, of course. On this side of the record you can see a C, 58XY514. Here on this side again another C with 58XY515. Billboard magazines started to fill with ads every week promoting the song. Huge bold letter ads that gripped the sides of both pages of Billboard and Cashbox, even showing color at times. In the late 50s, there was a push by the industry to start promoting the Stereo 45s, and Conway's hit was no exception. Similar to the disc jockey 45, the special stereo record was produced. MGM used different catalog numbers for the Stereo 45s. Instead of just adding a letter to K12677, the catalog number is now SK50107. It got the letter S, but the number changed too. This would be the same for all future Conway Stereo 45s released at MGM. As you can see, there's a lot more writing here on the dead wax with an OSS Stereo number 120358-453, 58-XY-ST number 514. This side you'll see OSS Stereo number 120358-45, and then 58XY-ST number 515. If you remember from our last video, Mercury released their 45 Double Talk Baby around this time. And finally, we look at Conway's first EP, appropriately titled It's Only Make Believe. The EP would contain 4 songs, all from Conway's first session for MGM on May 7th, 1958, and all written by Conway and Jack. Of course, there's It's Only Make Believe, I'll Try, When, not quite, and I Vibrate from My Head to My Feet. Haven't heard of When? I don't blame you, because if you play the song, although it contains the word when in the lyrics, the song is actually known as Will You Love Me Then As You Love Me Now? Likely either the song title was too long to print or an error was made. Interestingly enough, the song also wouldn't find any place on any of Conway's future MGM albums. With It's Only Make Believe at the top of the charts, Conway would return to the studio in late November to start recording songs that would become part of his first album. We'll take a look at this mystery record that I picked up on eBay. According to the site, it was gotten from a radio station. They had a whole group of records. This looks to be handwritten. It's a 78. Radio stations had the ability to make their own 78 records. This one was labeled as a promo. Interestingly enough, on this side, Conway Twitty has an E instead of an I in his last name. And the holes there, you could see it might have been an extra reused again, as the hole was re-drilled to the center. And the paper label that they've written on has a hole covered up. You can see again MGM Records, and It's Only Make Believe, this time with Conway Twitty spelled correctly on this side of the record. And then, of course, not a very good label, just something quick slapped on to the 78 vinyl itself. If we look at the dead wax areas on the record here to see what was written, you can see on this side there's not too much, if anything at all, on this side, etched into the dead wax. On this side, though, there is somebody did mark this up. You could see in the dead wax, handwritten here, it says Twitty, Make Believe, and then the word promo. So obviously somebody took the time to make this. They said that they couldn't verify the authenticity of the record on the eBay site, but I figured I'd pick it up and see what kind of clues we have. You can see that there is a lot of rings around the edge of the record, indicating it was a quick thrown together piece. There are even some markings along the sides where the engraving machine would hold on to the record so that they could make the recording. You can see all that residue is still on the record itself. Hasn't been wiped off or cleaned up at all on either side. Kind of see it almost looks like a clock in a way, with these markings going all the way around the record from where it was held. So the biggest the question I had was, well, is It's Only Make Believe really on here, and is it just a song? Is there a DJ intro and outro to the song in addition to it? So why the hell not? Let's find out. So I'll get out a trusty record player, and thankfully record players still come with the ability to play the 78 format. So although you won't be able to hear it due to copyright reasons, we're gonna see if we can determine here if there really is Conway's song on both sides, or if there's a little more or less, or if it's just the song itself. And sure enough, it's starting out with the beginning of the song. There's no intro or any advertisement there, so we'll move towards the end of the song, see if there's anything said by the radio station or anybody other than Conway or any additional material. And there doesn't appear to be anything different on this side. It's the song ending just the way it would normally. So it doesn't appear that this side of the record, at least, has any additional recording accompanying the song itself. But that doesn't mean the other side doesn't. So let's flip this over and see if the other side has anything different, or if it's only make-believe again. And sure enough, there's no DJ or any other indication. It just starts out with the song itself. So let's try the end again, make sure nothing. And again, we're picking up, and it doesn't seem like there's anything here either. It seems like it's only make-believe, the song recorded on both sides of the record as in its standard format, just the way it was recorded. So they likely made this so they could play this on the air. Again, there's not an indication of where this came from, what radio station, or if this was a quick thing that a radio station might have needed for their station that the record label actually made quick. Somebody at MGM could have quickly written something together, but I find a little odd that one side of the record has his name spelled correctly and the other side doesn't. So that's a little odd. If you have any other information, if you've seen this before, if you worked at this radio station or know anything about this or any of the other records that we looked at today, just leave comments below. Love to hear from you. Well, thanks for watching. Go on, hit that like button below. If you hate this stupid show, hit the dislike button. Turn on your notifications when you subscribe because you don't want to miss our next episode when we finally get to Conway's first album.